Hi, I had a couple comments on my handle making video regarding drilling the hole, and that happened to be the point that I had some camera problems, so I decided to redo that section. I had to make another handle anyway, so it was good timing to do that. This is the tool I'm making the handle for. It's a 1 1/4 inch roughing gouge, and it's got a tapered tang, and I measured it out at 9/16 for the widest part, 1/2 inch for the middle, and 3/8 for the very end. So I'll have to be drilling 3 holes to make that tapered hole to jam this up into. And my length of hole here is 2.5 inches. So for the smallest hole, the 3/8, we'll be drilling a 2.5 inch hole. And for the next size, we'll only be drilling a 1 1/4 inch hole, and so on down the line, so till we get the right taper to fit this up into. So I have the 3/8 inch bit mounted, and I have the handle mounted, and generally what I do is first thing I do is I turn it away from the way that it's gonna be cutting, just to make sure it's centered in that dimple properly. And then I'll rotate it back the other way, and that'll just kind of cut the edges of that dimple and widen them out so that the bit is seated as straight and proper as I can. Then my general procedure is to turn the lathe on, and I generally try to do the speed about 500 RPM or so, and then I'll hold on to the handle here and crank in with the crank on the tailstock to actually drill the hole. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to push with this hand. In fact, if anything, you want to pull back, and you want to let this do your driving. If you try to push with this hand, especially me because I'm right-handed and this is my left hand, then I'll end up with a cockeyed hole. So I'll turn the lathe on, and as you go you can see that it's running true, and you can feel it too. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. That should be good. So the first grab will get it started, and then crank it in, and you can let go and you can see that it's running good and true. It's just a matter of slowly cranking it in. Again, kind of pull back towards the tailstock to keep tension on the tailstock, because that's the thing that's going to keep you going straight. I'm going to pull back just a little bit to clear the chips. I should be able to make this in one setting with the depth of cut. I have enough depth of cut on my tailstock to make it. But now I'm beyond the flutes of the drill, so I can only go a little bit at a time here. Clear it out. I'm almost up to the tape. I can't quite see it from here. I'll have to lean over. I hope I don't get in your field of view here. Almost there. One more try should get it. There. Okay. So we can let go, and you can see that it's still running good and true, so that means I know my hole is straight. So I can turn that off and then remove it from the tailstock. Probably should have done this while the thing was still turning, but I didn't. clear the chips, and prepare to drill the second size hole. So I'm set up to drill the 1.5 inch hole. I'm going to be drilling that down about 1.5 inches. When you're enlarging a hole that's already been drilled, you have to get a pretty good grip on this, because if you don't, it'll get away from you and shoot into the hole pretty quickly. So I will turn the lathe on, and oftentimes you don't even need to crank. You can just push it in by hand because your guide hole is already in there. Let's try it and see what happens. You really have to kind of hold back on it so it doesn't get away from you. Okay, and we'll take that off and get ready to drill the final hole, which is going to be 9/16. Okay, now the 9/16 hole, I'm only going to go in about 5/8 of an inch, so it won't take long at all to do. And again, I'm not even going to crank, I'm just going to push it in by hand. As you can see, it wants to grab it. It wants to grab it real bad and just jam it in there, but I didn't let it. So now it should fit. Normally with a tapered tang, you only really need 2 holes. And what you would do is measure about 1/2 inch down from the fat end and about 1/2 inch down from the thin end for your diameters, and then just drill all the way down for your thin one and about halfway down for your thick one, and that should be adequate. But with this one, since it's such a big tool, big heavy tool, I wanted to give it as tight a fit as I could, and so that's why I drilled 3 holes. And basically that's all I have to offer as far as drilling holes on the lathe for tool handles. I probably have made 15 or 20 handles this way, and I only had one that caused me problems, and that was my own fault because I forgot to lock down the tool rest, or the tailstock, and as I started cranking, the tailstock went that way and it twisted on me and I lost control of it and it reamed out the hole, something awful. So that was a bust, but other than that I've had excellent success with it all the time. Hope that helps some, and thanks for watching.